I consider myself a pro consumer. When I use my laptop, 99% of the time, I am out and about working on projects, editing video, rendering video, and anything else that you do on the go. With the latest MacBook Pro being announced and the removal of the SD card and additional USB ports, it left me wondering, what am I going to do in a few years when it's time for me to upgrade? The good folks at B&H hit me up and asked me to try out the HP ZBook, a real pro laptop. I'm not being paid for this video or to say good things about it, but I did replace my MacBook with the ZBook for a bit, and here's my review. The HP ZBook is a mobile workstation. This is a laptop made for people who want the most performance out of their laptop. This laptop isn't made for gaming, but it definitely is possible. But it's made for editing, coding, and anything that requires tons of processing power, like putting people on the moon. Yeah, this laptop is actually used by NASA. They come in a few different configurations. They start at $1,100 for the base model, and they go up to $2,100 for the spec'd out edition. The trim that I'm reviewing is one of the spec'd out units, and it's a spec beast, and we'll get to specs in a bit later in the review, but let's discuss the laptop and its build quality. The laptop isn't svelte at all. It's solid, heavy, and girthy. It feels like it's designed to get work done, from the subdued paint job to the minimalistic branding. For what it's made to do, I like it. It doesn't draw much attention to it, and on top you have this kind of subdued two-tone design, and the outer soft touch plastic is painted gray, and the inner hard shell plastic is perforated a bit with the HP reflective chrome logo on the middle. This laptop is also military rated 15mm spec 810G, meaning it can survive drops, shocks, and other hazards. Now let's discuss ports. On the right, you have your power port, 2 USB-C ports, HDMI, 2 USB 3.0 ports, and a headphone jack. And just underneath the bezel, towards the bottom of the laptop, you do have an SC slot. On the opposite side, you have your Kingston locking port, VGA, USB 3.0, and SD card slot. To be honest, I'm really shocked to see VGA and no display port for a Pro laptop, but it seems that USB-C will be the standard soon, so maybe they're banking on that. On the front bezel, just under the lid, you have 2 vents and also the status lights. Overall, the design of this laptop isn't anything amazing, but for industry professionals, I think it's perfect. When you pull the lid down, the hinge feels nice and tight without any give or wiggle, and you'll see the Bang & Olufsen logo stamp on the left side, and smack dab in the middle is the 720p webcam and the HP Dream color sticker on the right. The 15.6 diagonal 4K anti-glare LED backlit display looks decent. And being honest, coming from a MacBook, it did seem like an upgrade for me. But after using it for a few weeks, I was impressed with the anti-glare capabilities, and the display colors appeared to be much more accurate on the MacBook. I thought they were more subdued, but after editing and comparing to real footage, it is way more accurate. But there are a few things of the display I'm not a fan of, like viewing angles. They're bad. If you're not looking at it head on, there is a significant difference in display quality. Also, them bezels, they're huge. It reminds me of a laptop from 4 to 5 years ago. The speakers, as I mentioned, are upgraded premium Bang & Olufsen speakers, and they did not disappoint. Listening to Hamilton, don't judge me, they sounded great with all the live instruments coming together. And then I wanted to kick it up a notch. I turned on some classic Kanye West, listened to Touch the Sky, and it sounded great. The horns were blaring out, the vocals were on point, and the bass was just nice and solid. By default, the EQ is set to voice, but music mode is where it really shines at, so make sure you make that adjustment. Alright, let's get to the meat and potatoes. This is the performance section. This laptop is equipped with Intel's Core i7-6820HQ quad-core processor. It has a base clock speed of 2.7 GHz and a max boost speed of 3.6 GHz. I had 16 GB of RAM installed in mine, but it does allow up to 64 GB. It has 2 slots available, and it is PC4 1700 2133 MHz DDR4 RAM. It has a dedicated GPU. It's rocking NVIDIA's Quadro M2000M with 4 GB of DDR4 VRAM. As I mentioned previously, this isn't made for gaming, but this GPU is actually one of the only few GPUs that Adobe Premiere officially supports fully. It's optimized to use this GPU, so that's why you'll get such good performance using it, but it is made for video editing, CAD, and other hardcore, graphically demanding operations. Obviously, it ran Windows just fine, and also some gaming.
The enemy FC captured it.
In all actuality, that it did run Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 without an issue. Both games recommended medium settings, and it ran in the 60s with those settings with the occasional dip. Now when you pumped it up to Ultra, then you were easily in the 40s or 50s, but it did dip down to 30s really fast. And that's expected with this type of laptop. For video editing, I dropped in a 4-minute 4K file that I shot on my camera, then I exported it to H.264 codec. It rendered out in about 10 minutes, which I felt was pretty good, going from 4K to 4K in a non-optimized format. Battery life for me was really hit or miss. Web browsing, navigating, I was really fine. I had great time with it, maybe 6 to 8 hours, but once I started video editing and things like that, the time got cut just about in half, but I think that's pretty expected. I did have comparable time on my Macbook Pro, granted that is a 2013 edition of a Macbook Pro. And I don't want to turn this into a Windows versus Mac conversation, but I did feel that this laptop did run Windows very well and actually ran just as fast as my Mac. Granted, like I said, it is a couple years older. Overall, this laptop is a powerhouse. It's a laptop for pro types of people. If you're a professional and you want to do video editing and you want to do those demanding tasks on a mobile version, check this laptop out. Hit the link below, and thanks to B&H for sending this out to me for review. I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja. Tap on my face if you're new to the channel to be notified when I post new videos, and go ahead and drop a like and a comment. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Ninja got reviews and brands galore. You ain't never seen a channel like this before. No hashtag.